Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today we're going to be looking at a no-start condition on our 2012 Honda Rancher TRX420. Nothing more aggravating than to go out, start your machine, and nobody's home. So what do we need to look into to see what's going on with this? Could it be the switch? Could it be a fuse? Or is it just the battery? Let's step over to the table and look at some of the diagnostic tools that we're going to need to look into this. I have several laid out. My favorite go-to is just going to be a voltometer. If you really want to see what's going on inside of that battery, well, then you're going to need to get a battery tester. And regardless if we can recharge the battery or have to bring up a new one, you're going to need a type of charger. Now, I've got one of the nicer UASA units, but you may want to invest in something a little bit less expensive. It's called a battery tender, and that will actually charge your battery as well as maintain it in the off-season. Now, as far as the parts list, well, I don't know where we're heading on that yet, but at the end of the video, if you would, check the link in the description below, and it will have a shopping cart that will use every part that we use to straighten it out. So, now that we've got our tools together, let's roll over to the machine and get this thing figured out. So, step one, let's get to our battery, take a peek at it, and see what kind of condition it's in. To do that, just pop the seat, drop the rear section, then you can pull up, slide forward. The unit is just completely dead. I mean, there's no electrical activity. So let's start by taking a peek with our multimeter. Switch it over to DC, and let's see what we've got. 10.86, that's not looking too good. But I don't want to call it on this one yet. I don't know how long this has been in the machine. We may be able to charge it and have it come back. You know, under 11 volts, it is already starting to sulfate, so chances are it won't. But let's go ahead and throw a charger on it. All right, we want to flip this one to quick. That actually ramps it up to 4 amps. And she's charging. So we've got our charger hooked up. What I want to do next is just turn the ignition on. I don't want to try to start it. I just want to make sure that we don't have a blown fuse or something like that. All right, well, there is signs of life. So I'm thinking right now it's going to be the battery. Let's go ahead and let it charge, then we'll come back about an hour, do a quick test, and see if we need to replace it or just continue charging it. So she's been charging for a little over 2 hours, according to the charger. It's actually still not quite done yet, but we're going to go ahead and stop the charge process and take a peek and see if this one's going to be recoverable. First, let's take a look at our voltage real quick. 12.62, that's actually pretty close to where we want to be. But, as I said earlier, that may not tell us the whole story. Let's actually put a tester on it that is battery specific, and this will give us the health of the battery. So it is an AGM type battery, and you would adjust it up or down here. We're going to take it to 14 amp hours. And is the battery charged? Well, yes. All right, it actually says bad and replace. So would it possibly start the machine? Well, we can try it in a second, but if I'm going out on the trail, I'm not going to trust this battery. No way. I don't like to walk. Just for kicks. It started it, but would I trust it out on the trail? No way. So I'm going to go ahead and spool up a new one, get it charged, and then we'll get it installed. This is really easy to set up. All you do is open up the electrolyte pack, remove this cover because this will actually be installed here when it's finished. I'm going to remove this film. Now just put it on one edge and push it down. Now at this point, resist the temptation to tilt it back and fill it faster. We want it to feel slow to where the glass mat that's inside gets fully saturated and doesn't outflow over the edge of the battery. After it's completely empty, let it rest for an additional 30 to 45 minutes. At that point, we'll go through the charging process. It's been sitting for about 45 minutes now, so I think we're good to go. But now we need to make a decision here. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can do it low and slow, but it takes a little bit longer, or you can go up to 6 amps and get it done in an hour. Well, I can tell you from experience, it's better to go low and slow on your first charge, especially if you've got the time, which I do. So why not go ahead and let it get the full charge that it can. Now we need to leave this cap off as we're charging it, because during the charging process, it may expel some gases from the different cells. The other thing I want to point out, yes, I'm using a really nice charger to do this, but you don't need to spend this kind of money to properly charge and maintain your battery. Battery Tender makes a bunch of different units. One of my favorite ones is this one. It'll actually charge at 1.25 amps, and it will act as a trickle charger for when your machine's just sitting in the shop during the off season. So I'm going to go ahead and charge it with my nicer unit, and we're going to go low and slow. So instead of having it in the quick location, which is at 4 amps, we're going to flip it over to normal, which is going to charge it at 1 amp. So switch it on and let it go for, shoot, as long as 10 hours it may take to get this charged. But we will know when it's done, because this smart charger will tell us, because it has a little LED down at the bottom that says finish. When that turns green, we know we're done. It takes the guesswork out of it. Looks like we have finished charging. I can go ahead and shut this off. Now at this point, we can go ahead and put on our cap. Just for kicks, let's see what the voltage is on it. 13.45. We can go ahead and do a test, but I have gotten false readings from doing this. When a battery goes through its initial charge, it's pretty much traumatized at this moment. So I've actually said, oh, you need to replace the battery. Well, if you let it cool down on its own, because right now it's still pretty warm from the charging process, even though we did use the lower amperage. I've used the higher amperage before, and I almost get to the point you can't touch them. You can't tell me that's good for an initial charge. Let's see where we end up. AGA, 14 amps. Good and passed. Well, that's what we wanted. Next, pretty simple. We're just going to pull the other one out, reinstall it with the new hardware, and then we're going to be done. Let's start by getting that strap disconnected. Just lay it back for the time being. I don't think we need the stick. Pull our negative. Whew, those weren't very tight. Then go after our positive. Show you a little trick, makes it easier getting the old battery out. Pair of pliers, grab it right here by the terminals and lift it out. Because most of the time, like this one, they're encapsulated with whatever the machine's been riding through for the last several years. That looks awful. Let me get that cleaned out, then we'll pop a new battery in. Not spotless, I know, but we're going to end up replacing all the plastic on this one anyway. So the strap can be a little challenging. Reach through the latch with the seat. That way you can get push over the plastic. Now let's do the positive first. We're going to initially tighten it with a screwdriver. I want to caution you here. You think you've got it tight enough there? You don't. So get your ratchet and put a little bit more on it. Otherwise, it's going to loosen up. Let's go ahead and get our negative on. Same procedure. Add a little to it. That should do it. When you're putting this on, there's 2 catches. And the front section just pushes down. Well, all right, guys, that wraps this one up. Well, listen, if you need any parts for your machine, why don't you come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. Now, if you want the exact listing of what we used on this one, check that link in the description below, and that'll take you straight to a shopping cart that's ready to go. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you're still having trouble figuring out either your machine or the shopping cart or the checkout process, give us a call. That is what we're here for. Listen, if you like what you see, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you can keep up with whatever I'm working on next. We just want to say thank you for shopping here with us at Partzilla, and we will see you in the next video. Y'all have a great day.